What's going on, guys? Welcome to the video. Now, I wasn't even going to cover this, but it come across my screen and I thought I'd take a look at it. The place it's reporting on is apparently a Remain biased organisation, though I haven't been actually able to check that out for sure, so don't take my word for it. Either way though, they are terrorising Jo Swinson with this current piece, who it seems has been up to more fraudulent behaviour, this time regarding the press and something they're reporting on. Reported on the 13th of November that Jo Swinson and the Liberal Democrats had taken £100,000 from the official Remain campaign, Britain Stronger in Europe. Now, according to the Lib Dems, selling electoral data for 100 grand is apparently legal. I don't know about that, and I don't have the time to check it out. But we can look at this article, which does go over it. It headlines, "What are Jo Swinson's Liberal Democrats so desperate to hide?" I've had some bizarre lawyers' letters in my time, but this one involved a forgery by the Lib Dems press office. And this article is by Mary Fitzgerald of Open Democracy UK. Once again, as far as I'm aware, a Remain biased organisation, but I don't know that for sure. It continues, "It's a privilege to do this job. As Editor-in-Chief, when the award nominations and accolades pour in, you get to bask in the glory of your brilliant, tenacious colleagues. Equally, when your organisation gets threatened by powerful, sometimes dangerous people who want to silence it, it's your job to take that heat. Often, those threats come in the form of expensive lawyer letters, usually from the expected quarters, oligarchs, criminals, sex offenders. But something happened recently which was completely unexpected. We've decided to go public about it, not only because the Liberal Democrats have some serious questions to answer, but also because it stinks of the cynicism and fakery we've seen across politics during this election. And it would be quite funny, except it's not. It all started when we published a story by my colleague Jim Cusick, a highly experienced political reporter. It was about how the Liberal Democrats had sold voter data to the official Remain campaign, Britain Stronger in Europe, for £100,000 back in 2016. The Lib Dems have always maintained there was nothing wrong with the lucrative deal, but it raised eyebrows and the Information Commissioner launched an investigation. You can read more about it there. I will add this link to the video description if I remember, so make sure to remind me in the chat or my guys in Discord. As is normal, Cusick approached the Liberal Democrat press office for comment before any publication. No reply was received. We noted that fact in our story and reported their previous statements on the issue. A day after we published, Cusick got an email from a senior official in the Lib Dems press team. They asked why he hadn't included the party's response in our piece. Cusick replied that he'd never received a comment from the Lib Dems, but that if they sent one, he'd add it in straight away. The press office never got back to him. 2 days later, we received a letter from the pricey legal firm Goodman Derrick. It denied that the Lib Dems had done anything wrong and called our story irresponsible. The lawyers said our article was evidently intended to be disparaging against our client in the run-up to the election, and was likely to cause, if not already done so, serious harm to the Liberal Democrats' election campaign. I'm pretty sure the Liberal Democrat leader and their out-and-out revoke policy had already done all the damage to their election campaign that ever needed to be done. No one else could add to that. They also took issue with our choice of image to illustrate a story, a photo of Lib Dem leader Jo Swinson, because she was not an MP at the time of the data sale. The article made it clear Swinson was not Lib Dem leader at the time, but they suggested that in putting this picture above our article, we might have broken electoral law. No, they wouldn't have. Jo Swinson is the leader of the Lib Dems. It doesn't matter if she was the leader of the Lib Dems there. And you can actually see the related story there just above. Then came the threat that they wanted us to remove all derogatory and disparaging statements from the article or take it down. If we didn't, they said the Lib Dems might want to start taking formal legal action against us. You can read that letter here, which I'm not going to do. Once again, I'll link this so you guys can check it out if you want to. Having recovered from the mild bafflement that the Liberal Democrats, supposed champions of civil liberties and free speech, unless of course you disagree with them, Open Democracy, you need to learn this, very amateur of you, were trying to invoke criminal law to shut down a press report. We sent their lawyers the following response. From Mary Fitzgerald, dated the 18th of November 2019. Dear Sirs, your client, the Liberal Democrats Party and Miss Joanne Swinson, thank you for your letter dated the 15th of November, received by email. Our reporter, John Cusick's attempts to obtain a statement before publication did not receive a response. If you do wish to provide us with a statement for retrospective inclusion, we would be happy to consider doing so. In providing us with a statement and assuming your client's position is that there was nothing wrong with the 2016 data sale, we would ask your clients to specifically address whether they would do such a deal again, and if not, why not. We maintain that the publication of the image of Miss Swinson in this context does not constitute a full statement of fact about her personal character or conduct, such as to engage Section 106 of the Representation of the People Act 1983. It is explicitly stated in the article that the leader of the Liberal Democrats at the time of the sale was Tim Farron. Yours faithfully, Mary Fitzgerald, who is also the person that wrote this article. We assumed we would hear nothing more. We were wrong. Another letter arrived from Goodman Derrick. They told us that Cusick was wholly incorrect about having not received a response from Lib Dems before publication, and that they were awaiting further instructions from their clients, which gives them time to do what you will see in a moment. We replied, "Dear Sirs, we have now attempted 3 times to obtain on the record comments from your clients, once via letter to you on the 18th of November and twice before then. I have attached the relevant emails. In the absence of having received one, and in order to save time and costs on both sides, we have summarised what we can do about your client's position and amended the article accordingly. We would be happy to consider including a further on-the-record comment from your clients if they are willing to provide one. We refer them to our previous question about whether they would engage in such a data sale again, or, if not, why not. I remain at your disposal. Mary." We made note of the amendment on our site, and once again we assumed that would be the end of it, but it wasn't. A few days later, Goodman Derrick wrote to us again. They told us that an on-the-record response was sent to Jim a day before publication, 12th of November. They demanded an explanation and written apology from Open Democracy for not having included it. They demanded we publish this apology prominently on our website, and for the Liberal Democrats to be able to publicise our apology wherever they saw fit. They also demanded a raft of further changes and revisions to the article. So the Lib Dems are now saying that they responded to the request for comment on the 12th of November, which is quite key. They also attached the documents shown below, proof they implied that we had willfully ignored the client's position. You can read the full document here. Once again, this will be linked so you can read it out. We only need this bit. It says there, which is key, 12th of November 2019, 1639. RE, please forward, LD should comment on this. Hi James, please find our response below. As a registered participant in the referendum, Britain Stronger In were legally entitled to a copy of the electoral register under electoral law. Anyone using the register has to translate and compile the data. This was their actual reason for selling it. We're not going to go into that, it doesn't matter, we can do a whole nother video on them selling data. I can go through the article in a different video if we really want to. There was just one problem with all of this, which Jim quickly spotted. He hadn't written to the Lib Dems asking for their comment on the 12th of November. He had asked them for the comment a day later on the 13th of November. So apparently now the Lib Dems are able to answer questions before they've even been answered. They must have a crystal ball. The fact was clear in the evidence we had already supplied to Goodman Derrick several days previously. Here's the top of Jim's email. You can read the rest here. Once again, I'll let you read the rest there. Sent on the 13th of November at 12:30, when apparently they responded on the 12th of November at 16:39. So the Lib Dems have got some special technology that allows them to see 20 hours into the future. I'm not going to bother reading that, we can see that's just them asking for comment on the story. In other words, how could the Lib Dems have responded to a question we hadn't asked yet? That is a good question in itself. Hold on, they might have already answered that one for you as well. And why did their so-called reply to Jim on the 12th of November carry the subject line of a completely different story, which had nothing to do with the data sale? Because of course it's the Lib Dems and they're lying to you, trying to use a little bit of fraud to get you to remove your article against them. Absolute shitweasels. We wrote to them on the 27th of November asking them to provide an explanation by 4:30 PM that day. No reply or acknowledgement was received. We sent a follow-up on 28th of November stating what you have sent us appears to be a crude forgery and the attempt to rely on it a prima facie instance of attempted fraud. We asked for a reply by 4:30 PM that day. No reply or acknowledgement was received. We wrote to Goodman Derrick and also to the Liberal Democrats yet again on November the 29th and told them we would publish a story by noon, whether or not we received a response. Finally, we heard back. First they demanded more time and threatened us with an injunction. Then someone in the Lib Dem press office rang me and admitted that a mistake had been made and told me that they were investigating. Then, after we had extended the deadline yet again, they provided an official statement. The Liberal Democrats refute allegations made in Open Democracy's piece of November 13th. However, we have been made aware that the information Open Democracy subsequently received from the Liberal Democrats was incorrect. We have suspended a member of staff involved and are following due process. That still wasn't the end of it, however. We received another letter from Goodman Derek. It said that the Liberal Democrats had launched an inquiry into the matter, but it also repeated their threats over our original article. It also claimed that neither their client contact nor any at the firm had any reason to believe until November 29th that the fake email was anything other than genuine. We pointed out that Jim's email, which we had supplied to them as evidence almost a week previously, clearly contradicted this. It showed quite plainly that we had asked the Liberal Democrats for a statement on the 13th of November, not the 12th of November. They had this information long before they sent us the fake email and before they used it to demand an apology. We asked them to explain. They referred us back to their previous statement. We've heard nothing more since. Of course not. You caught not only the Liberal Democrats out, but the incompetent lawyers they paid to get on the case. It's completely fucking ridiculous. But once again, guys, it's the Lib Dems lying. Shock horror to absolutely no one. But you won't hear nothing about this on the mainstream media. The mainstream media don't bother looking for anything where Joe Swinson, or Labour for that matter, have been up to no good, it seems. Now I ain't going to read through all of this, I'll just take some of the best things here. First, why was the Lib Dem press office so desperate to discredit our story? In Jim Cusick's initial communications with them, he told them we had seen internal documents about the Lib Dems' lucrative 2016 data sale if, as they strongly maintain, the party had acted in accordance with the law at all times, and had done nothing wrong. Why did someone think it was important enough to repeatedly make false claims, including a fake document, via expensive lawyers? That is a good question. Why would they do that if they were so desperate to just discredit the story because it's fake, when actually I expect it's extremely true and they were just trying to keep it out of the media to avoid scrutiny. I expect the reason why they were trying to discredit it is because they might have been up to no good. It's definitely possible and, to me, the only likely explanation. But I guess we won't know because no one's going to be able to investigate it or no one's going to bother. Like I said, the mainstream media probably won't bother with this story at all. What did our story reveal that prompted this level of duplicity? Yep, that is a good question also. Second, the replies from Derek Goodman were issued on behalf of the party and of its leader Joe Swinson. This assumes that senior figures were involved who sanctioned and signed off this aggressive legal pursuit, including the letter with a forged email. How might the Lib Dem supporters and donors feel about this appalling use of their funds? Well, I don't know, they probably wouldn't actually care. I'm not sure any of them really that bothered. They all openly wanted to go for a revoke policy, so they're not exactly democratic. Maybe they like the Lib Dems wasting their money. I don't know. Perhaps most importantly though, what does this whole episode say about the so-called Liberal Democrats' regard for fact-checking, accuracy and press freedom? We at Open Democracy are a small team. This distraction has cost us valuable staff time and legal bills, which could otherwise have been spent doing actual journalism during the final weeks before the most important election in a generation. Now, I'm not going to read the end of that there's no real point, and this video's going on for absolutely ages. But the point of it is the Lib Dems are once again up to no good, lying and sneaking and scheming their way around things. This Open Democracy website, who I believe is a Remain supporting website, has posted a story about them, and they don't like it. So they've sent expensive lawyers after them, and when of course Open Democracy have proved that the Lib Dems never bothered to respond to their request for comment, the Lib Dems have started forging letters and sending it to them, possibly, as Open Democracy say, coming from the very top, Joe Swinson or those just below her. Much like many of their fake polls and claims on election leaflets that many people have sent me, and of course we've seen in the media many times. It seems the only thing that the Lib Dems are liberal with is the truth. But on that note, I will end this epic video there. I want to thank our PayPal, Patreon, Subscribestar and YouTube members for supporting the channel, along with everyone who watches my videos. Remember to let me know what you guys think down in the comment section below. Leave a like, subscribe with the notification bell and share this video as it helps the channel a lot. And I will see you all in the next one.
This Parliament is a dead Parliament. It should no longer sit. It has no moral right to sit on these green benches. They don't like the truth. Twice they have been asked to let the electorate decide upon whether they should continue to sit in their seats, while they block 17.4 million people's votes. This Parliament is a disgrace. But they're too cowardly to give it a go. But the time is coming. The time is coming, Mr. Speaker, when even these turkeys won't be able to prevent Christmas.
There is a pattern consistent throughout history of oppressed people turning on the oppressors, slaves against their owners, the peasantry against the feudal barons, colonies, Mr. Verhofstadt, against their empires, and that is why Britain is leaving. And it doesn't matter which language you use, we are going, and we are glad to be going. We're off.